Hey everyone, this is Rob from SportRx, and sitting next to me is Mark from Smith Optics. We are honored to have him here today helping us shoot some videos on Smith goggles, and we are going to show you guys how to interchange goggles on some of the Smith IOs. So in front of us here we have the IOX, the IO, and the IOS. If I'm correct, and Mark will know, the X and the S interchanging is identical.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, as far as the way you rotate the outrigger and the tabs on the top, yeah. So these two are going to be very, very similar in function.
And the IO standard is just slightly different.
Slightly different in the sense that, yeah, you're not having to pivot an outrigger 90 degrees to release the sides of the lens. But the upper tabs on the interchange are still essentially the same. So the basic process is
Perfect.
Quite similar.
And if you're interested, the IO7 is totally different, not totally different, but very different. And we have a separate video on YouTube on how to change to the IO7. So if you have an IO7, stop watching this video unless you want to just check us out. And keep going and find the IO7 video, which is on YouTube also. So here we go. Let's start with the IOX. Yep.
Okay, so IOX, all the interchangeable IO series goggles come with two lenses. Typically you have a bright light lens installed in the product, and then it comes with a low light lens here in the box, along with your microfiber goggle bag. So if you want to make the change, you simply unlock or flip up the two tabs here on the top of the goggle. So that releases essentially the top of the lens. On this particular model, and similar on the iOS, you will rotate the outriggers 90 degrees. So you will then release the top of the lens here, and then as you release or twist these 90 degrees, it will also allow you to remove the lens from the side of the goggle as well. So once you've done that, now your attachment point is really just here at the nose. So we'll kind of grab the nose and then pull the lens out. The one thing that, to note here, you're probably not going to get this done without getting fingerprints on your lens, although it would be ideal if you could. But I think you'll find that you'll wrestle with it a ton more if you
don't be afraid to get a little dirty.
So as we put the goggle lens back in, again, we're going to want to make sure our outriggers are still at 90 degrees. But I always find it's a little bit easier to kind of pinch your nose piece here, grab your new lens, and simply start to seat it from the top. So setting the top portion of the lens. And then as we do that, we are going to want to get it in the lens groove first, but then we'll seat the dovetails essentially down at the bottom of the lens. So now you'll see here that I'm seated here on the bottom portion of the lens again, and then I'm going to slip then the edges of the lens under the sides of the outrigger to re-engage those. I'll twist my outriggers then, again 90 degrees, to lock in the side of the lens here, as we have there, and then we'll slip the top of the lens right up under the top lens tabs here, close those down on top, and you're good to go. What I would suggest after, obviously, because you're probably gonna have a lot of fingerprints as I just got here, take your microfiber goggle bag here, give yourself a good clean, and you're off and running.
Nice. So if you know me, I always talk prescription because of RX. And the IO standard size right here already has a prescription insert installed in there. And if you can't see it, it's because we got a dark lens in here. So if you're sensitive about people seeing your prescription in there, get a darker lens and no one will see it. So if you're going to interchange, take your insert out first. And then let's see if I can do it. Mark's way better at it than me. Release right there.
Yep, release there. That's going to allow you to then pull the lens down from the top. So there you go, out and away from the frame.
That was easy so far.
Exactly. So that one, unlike here on the IOX or the iOS,
there's no unlocking.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So it just that one will actually tuck behind the outrigger.
You pretty much just rip this guy out.
You got it.
And then you don't have to rip it. But the other thing I like to mention to people, and especially for me, I break everything I own, but these things are really hard to break. I try and be very gentle with everything because I end up tearing things apart and use brute force over smarts. But on this one, you have to use a little bit of force.
A little bit.
Maybe not brute force.
Not brute force, but yeah, I mean, if it's starting to hang up, don't feel bad about giving it a little tug or even a little push, yeah, to kind of influence it a bit.
It's pretty obvious that these two tabs, there's two holes in here that can line up in this line.
Correct.
And you just got to get those in there. You like to pinch them.
I like to pinch them first, just to kind of get that upper portion kind of seated up into the lens, and then kind of work the edges down to get the dovetail attachments in.
And then the trick with the IO is to get the shield after you get the nose bridge in behind the outrigger, right?
Correct. Just work it in behind the outrigger, so you can kind of just bend the lens in behind there. We talked about not touching the lens or not being afraid to touch the lens.
You got to touch it.
Yeah, touch it if you can. Try and avoid touching the inner lens as much as possible, just because it does have your anti-fog coatings and such. So the outer lens isn't a problem, but definitely do your best to try and not touch the inner lens or as little as possible.
I lined that up pretty well.
You did it great. Yeah.
Okay,
so flip
and
your
then
tabs down.
Lock.
Lock. You missed it. You gotta
I
push
missed it.
You got to engage it.
See, that's why you're here.
That's it. So push it down.
There we go.
You
That one looks good.
Get them in behind there.
There we go.
Now lock them down and you're good to go.
Oh, come on, baby. Aha!
So there you go. So now you've got your, seal against your rimless goggle there on the frame.
I need to clean it up a
You're all
bit.
set. You might want to clean that up a bit.
Oh, it's crystal clear.
And then if you do have the RX insert, once that lens was installed, you would simply pop that back in.
I guess it would be more crystal clear if I put my prescription back.
Much more, yes.
A little bit safer down the fountain. Okay, well, if you guys have any more questions on any products, any Smith products, you can always email us at info@sportrx.com. If you have any questions, you can also just put them in the little comment section, or if you just want to say, hi, Rob, you're having a good hair day, you can also put that in the comment section. All right, guys, we'll see you on the slopes. Later.
All right, see ya.